This is another interesting portrait of the image of Christ and how the artist has metabolized it. Uh, I give my quick interpretation just by seeing the symbols now. You know, something arises in my mind. It's interesting because when there has been the inauguration of this place, it was already open, but they had an inauguration like last Sunday, and I was here, and it was full of people, and I don't know, maybe you are distracted a bit, now that it's still open to the public, but it's not an inauguration, and I'm able to see like stuff more calmly and see the details. What is interesting is that clearly you can see the image of Christ in behind, the one that they gave us, Christ on the cross. You can clearly see that has a very clear pigmentation, so he's the Caucasian so-called Christ, with the written on top Inri, which is Jesus the Nazarene, King of the Jews. Rex is King of the Judeans. So that's what they wrote when they crucified him. And what's interesting that is this is the true image of Christ. Although he's having a cross, I believe, he should carry this and not the cross. But yeah, that being aside, let's cover it, yeah. So this is the true image of Christ. And it's interesting that he's actually, it looks like he's upholding this image of the fake Christ, right? Shall we say the Antichrist? If it's a fake Christ, it's an Antichrist, the Caucasian Christ, on his left hand, right? Interesting, left hand is the hand of the heart, but it's not uplifting it, because if you see on the other hand, he has a sickle. So in my mind, he's laying the false image of Christ. He's not upholding it, right? So I bet that the vast majority, they would think that he's upholding it. And I don't think the artist wanted to convey the image of upholding the Christ, right? Another interesting stuff is that, for example, you got this guy, another Caucasian, and I think Barabbas, right? The thief was there with Jesus being sentenced to death, right? And I don't know, to me this is Barabbas because he's the thief, the thief of our land. And then on the left side of the so-called Christ, you have somebody holding a rifle, right? And you can see all the artillery. So he's bringing justice as well. And what's interesting is that I remember that in the book, the ISIS papers from Dr. Francis Cress-Welsing, the cross was representing symbolically, psychologically, in the human brain computer of so-called Caucasian people. The cross, upside down cross, was representing the penis facing down, so a powerless penis, right? And it's interesting that the so-called Christ is upholding it up. He's upholding up something. And also this guy that bringing justice, he's upholding a rifle, which is symbolic of penis, which is symbolic of chi, which is symbolic of energy, which is symbolic of the chrism, the sacred secretion that travels all around the human body, all the way from the crown to the root chakra and all the way up, which basically represents that sacred fluid, enlightenment. So again, and the gun is symbolic of the penis, as I saw in the book, the ISIS papers, and this guy is upholding up, it's holding up. So that's interesting that he's actually close to this woman's mouth as well, like, as if she's feeding off that Christ energy that is coming from a man that is enlightened. So now I don't want to get too much into the details, but symbolically that's what I receive. And what I see also is that she's taking that sacred fluid, and she got 2 babies with her. So they're not 2 twins, but she got 2 babies. So that represents procreating, I believe, what I see here, like with a sacred man, with a warrior, the one which is on the side of Christ and is one of her own, like in this case somebody from Bahia. So this is what I get. I should see a bit more like the portrait and what is representing. But I see, like, for example, other rifles here. This girl is called Bonita, which is beautiful. But anyway, yeah, that's interesting. You know, I believe the artist is Christian, but he's conveying a lot symbolically. Listen, he's conveying a lot, and this is my interpretation, right? Doesn't mean the artist agree with what I'm saying, but perhaps subconsciously he doesn't even know what he's portraying. Like, he's solely speaking in the same way when we write is the soul that speaks. The same way, you know, when we paint, still is the paint, is the soul that is being activated, right? So yeah, but this is my interpretation, right? So it's conceptual, but I think I'm onto something. Yeah, I wonder what you guys think.